Right. Good morning, everyone. On behalf of EVMWD, thank you for joining today's virtual tour, wastewater treatment plant and lab tour. This session and all sessions at the Flow into Fall event will be recorded and will be posted on our website. Before we get started, EVMWD is helping to support our local business community by raffling off restaurant gift cards at the end of each session. We will randomly draw an attendee from the list at the end of each session and announce the winner, so please stay tuned. My name is Jace Warner. I am Director of Operations for the Elsinore Valley Municipal Water District, overseeing water and wastewater operations. Today, we are going to take you behind the scenes where sewer water is transformed into beneficial recycled water. You are also in for a treat. Our tours don't always include our labs, but today you will see the people and place where water quality is top priority. Here with me on this call, we have Flavio Flores and George Kolb, who are two of our experienced wastewater treatment operators who make this operation happen. We are starting off today's session with a 20-minute video, and then we will host a live question and answer session with Flavio and George. As a reminder, please use the chat function on your screen to submit questions throughout the session as you think of them. And with that, we will get started on the video tour. So please give me just a moment to get the video sharing set up, and please enjoy this video. We'll be back shortly.
Sorry, Jace, you broke up a little bit. What was the question?
I'm getting a message that the host disabled participant screen sharing.
Oh, let me make you a co-host. There you go. You should be able to share now.
Perfect, thank you. Here we go.
Hey, Jace, I think we might need you to reshare that video with the audio from the computer box checked. We're having a hard time hearing it.
It can happen to a sample that can ruin it. We're trying to protect them as much as we can. And we also have some different preservatives. We've got nitric acid that we use for preservative. We use sulfuric acid. We use sodium hydroxide.
There we go.
We use sodium
thiosulfate.
This one, thank you.
Okay.
Removes chlorine from the sample so that we can test it for microorganisms, which you'll get a chance to see the microbiology lab a little bit better. These coolers make sure that they stay cool from the time that we collect them until the time that we run them. So we bring them in coolers, we put them right in the fridge, and then we log them in with our computer, our laboratory information management system, and then the laboratory is able to come get them out of the fridge and run them for various tests and test them for safety, test them for compliance. For the drinking water, we do a lot of tests for safety, for public health, and for compliance. And then for wastewater, we actually have requirements that the water meets before it leaves, and we test it for that. So we do a lot of testing for both the nasty wastewater and the fresh drinking water. So that pretty much sums up the whole sample receiving area.
Good morning, my name is Ian Lawless. I'm a water quality technician here at EVMWD. And today, one of the things I'm doing today is I'm running a test called Biochemical Oxygen Demand. And basically what I'm doing is checking the organic load in wastewater samples coming into the plants and also what's leaving the plant. So as you can see here, I've got some examples. Like this is the influence. So what's coming into the plant, these two, and then these two are the ones where it's actually leaving the plant. So you can see there's a big difference. But the purpose of this test is to determine environmental compliance, making sure that the plants are running properly. And one of the things I have to do with these two samples is to check the amount of chlorine in them. So I'm going to actually remove the chlorine so I can do the test. And over here I have one of the samples set up, and I've added some indicator, which right now is a blue color. And as I add this other reagent, the purpose of this is I'm going to know how much I'm going to add. I'm going to measure the amount I'm adding, and then it's going to turn colorless. So I've got it on a stir plate right now. So I'm going to add sample. See, it's turning a lighter blue, and then I'm going to do it just really slowly at the end here. And then probably about maybe like that. So now it's colorless. So I'm going to measure this amount and know that's the amount of this reagent I need to take the chlorine out of the sample I'm going to actually run. So it's an interesting way to check that. And I also have to check the pH on those samples. And that's what we use our buffers to calibrate our pH instrument. And I don't know, that's one of the things I'm running today.
Hi, I'm Patrick Allen. I'm the water quality analyst here at EVMWD. And as you can see, this is our inorganics laboratory. And in this laboratory, we perform both wastewater and drinking water tests. One of the most important tests that we do perform here in this laboratory for drinking water especially is TOC, which stands for total organic carbon. And that's what this instrument is here. This is our TOC instrument. And the reason that we perform TOC testing is not that TOC is a contaminant. Actually, TOC is organic carbon, which is basically, when you think of plants or trees or any detritus, it's organic carbon. It's bound up in vegetation. So sometimes that gets into water, which is not a problem, and we can consume that. But when you have too much organic carbon and it mixes with chlorine, that can be problematic. So we look into how much organic carbon we have in our drinking water, and we maintain levels that assures that our water is safe to drink. So what I'm doing today is I'm actually setting up the instrument. As you can see, we have these vials here. And when you run any test in the laboratory, you need to make a curve. And the curve tells you, I have this amount of a substance, which is TOC, and anywhere on that curve, when you actually test a sample, you're able to tell what the true amount of the TOC is. What we're doing in this area of the lab is odor testing. One of the concerns that a lot of our customers have is, does my water smell or is it just me? So Every week, we take about 12 samples from the distribution system around everyone's homes in the district, and we run an odor test. And to do that, we have to actually heat the water in these sample bottles to 60 degrees Celsius. And so we use a water bath. It takes 45 minutes. What we have here is a blank sample. So this has no odor. This is odor-free water. And then we have our samples from the distribution system that we compare it against. Also in this area, what we have over here is our muffle furnace. The muffle furnace is used for wastewater samples. When we do a test called TSS, which is total suspended solids, we can also look at volatile suspended solids. So we'll take the difference of what the TSS is versus the VSS, which is the volatiles. We bake it in this oven, which is 550 degrees Celsius. So it volatilizes all of the solids that would normally stay in a sample. And so we can measure that difference, which is very important to the wastewater treatment plant.
Hi, welcome to Elsinore Valley Municipal Water District's Microbiology Laboratory. My name is Lulu Dill. I'm a water quality technician here at Elsinore Valley. Some of the things that we run here in our microbiology laboratory are test analysis for, we have wells that we test, we have reservoirs, and our source waters, which includes Canyon Lake Water Treatment Plant and the Canyon Lake itself. And the Back Basin Groundwater Treatment Plant. The analysis that we run are microbiology analysis, which essentially is the study of microorganisms. And because microorganisms are too small to see with the naked eye, we run different test methods that we can show and indicators to be able to see if we have any kind of algae, viruses, any kind of bacteria in our drinking water and our source water, and how we can treat it. One of the analyses that we run here is our heterotrophic plate count, and that's a type of bacteria the analysis is an indicator, and we run it on our wells and some of our distribution site systems. I will show you here, we have some samples actually incubating from yesterday, and we have a presence absence analysis, and we have heterotrophic plate counts. In this incubator, we check our temperatures twice daily to ensure that our temperature is accurate. So we give these samples the proper incubation environment. Another analysis that we also run is on wastewater. Now, this is a wastewater treatment plant. That is where our laboratory is located. And we want to test any microorganisms in our wastewater also, because we are reclaiming our water and we will use it out in the environment. And we need to make sure that anything that we discharge out of this plant is safe for the environment. So that analysis that we run is this test method, multiple tube fermentation. And this consists of us adding a little sample aliquot to this test tube where there is a broth, and it is food for the microorganisms. Now, if they are live or present in there, we will show a cloudy or gassy residue in there within 24 hours to 48 hours, and sometimes 72 hours. So it is a lengthy process, but it is a safe process, and it's a process that we use here at EVMWD.
I'm George. I'm operator 3 here at Regional Wastewater Treatment Plant. Here at the Headworks facility, we operate our mechanical bar screens to remove all the debris from the wastewater that's coming in. The debris is then put into dumpsters and hauled to the landfill. headworks, I showed you where we remove all the rags, and then on the lower section, all the grit. Once it leaves that process, it comes here over to the treatment. And these first tanks here that I'm standing in front of is our anaerobic zone. And this is where the raw sewage comes into the plant and it meets the microorganisms. After it goes through this series of tanks here, we run it up into the next set of tanks where we introduce oxygen to them. It keeps it mixed and suspended, and then there the microorganisms convert all the ammonia to nitrogen. Both tanks are in aeration mode. Part of the process is automated to where during different parts of the cycle, one side will be aerated and then the other side's not. And this one just switched into that mode. So this side is now not being aerated. And this is not being aerated. So it would be our, what we're going to call our denitrification stage. Once all the microorganisms have treated the raw sewage, it comes to this tank, the final clarifier. And all the heavy brown microorganisms, the solids that you saw in the last tank, come into this tank into the center and they settle out to the bottom. The clear water just comes up and over the weirs, and then it'll go to the final filtration before going on to the UV section. Once the water leaves the final clarifier that we just saw, it goes through the filters, and from the filters it comes down to this section here, the UV. And in this here section, we have 3 channels of ultraviolet lights that are submerged in the water, and as the water passes by them, the ultraviolet light disinfects any bacteria that may still be in the water. We do this before we discharge it. Most of it goes out to the Lake Elsinore, and a small portion keeps the wetlands area as a wetlands.
All right, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the video. Again, for those that just joined us.
In particular for today's session, we are very lucky to have an international expert, Philip, who will share his experience with us today. The sharing session for today theme is the hazard in the construction industry, with a focus
Camille,
on,
do you know where that voice is coming from?
I'm not sure. I think you might have the video still open and it may have switched to a new video on YouTube. You could close the browser.
Note. Philip is an occupational hygienist with more than 30.
Okay, that did it. All right, thank you. All right, for everyone that just joined during the video, I hope you enjoyed that. Again, I'm Jace Warner, Director of Operations here at Elsinore Valley Municipal Water District. Also on the session, we have George Kolb and Flavio Flores, who are our experienced wastewater treatment operators who actually work at these facilities. Are there any questions from the video?
And I will remind attendees that if you have a question, you can select to chat to us and I will read out the question, or Jace will. And if you would like to vocalize a question, you're welcome to raise your hand or indicate yes in the participants list and we will unmute you. It looks like we have 2 questions so far. One from Anvita. The question is, how different is the water quality between the water that is imported from the Colorado River Aqueduct and the State Water Project? Is EVMWD a member agency of Metropolitan? If so, how does it work? And are there any sub-agencies of EVMWD? So looks like there's a bunch of questions there, so maybe we can unpack them one at a time. So the first question is, how different is the water quality between the water that is imported from the Colorado River Aqueduct and the State Water Project?
George and Flavio, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I think maybe my mic was off for a short time there. Camille, could you repeat the question? I think that's probably a water question that would be best if I take.
Yeah, no problem. How different is the water quality between the water that is imported from the Colorado River Aqueduct and the State Water Project?
Sure. So the water quality difference is primarily the water from the Colorado River Aqueduct has more minerals, and therefore it's harder water. So it'll leave more hard water deposits on your plumbing. But as far as safety, the safety of both supplies are entirely the same. They just have a different a different mineral makeup due to one coming essentially from the Rocky Mountains and through Lake Powell, Lake Mead, Lake Mojave, Havasu, all of those lakes, where the state project water comes from Northern California, comes through different geographic formations, therefore has less hardness and minerals.
Awesome, thanks, Jace. The next question is EVMWD a member agency of Metropolitan Water District of Southern California? If so, how does it work? And does EVMWD have any sub-agencies?
We are actually a member of Western Municipal Water District. So Western is our connection to Metropolitan, and we do have one agency that we wholesale water to, and that is Farm Mutual Water Company, and that is on the eastern side of our system, near the Wildemar and Menifee boundary on Bundy Canyon Road.
Awesome, thanks, Jace. And then here's a question that has to do with wastewater. So maybe George and Flavio, how many water treatment plants are there in Lake Elsinore? So maybe water and wastewater, because I think you guys have both.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Here at the district, we have 3 wastewater treatment facilities. Our major facility here is where we're at today is the regional treatment plant. And then we have, and it's right here off of Cheney and the 15 freeway. And then we have 2 other satellite facilities that serve smaller communities. One is located at the Horse Thief Canyon community, Indian Truck Trail exit. And that services the community up there. And then we have the other one that is west of the Railroad Canyon exit off the 15 freeway going up towards the city of Canyon Lake. And that services the partial city of Canyon Lake, the Tuscany Hills development, and the Canyon Hills development. And so that's 3 facilities total. One here treats 8 million gallons approximately. The Horse Thief Canyon treats 500,000, 0.500 MGD. And then the Railroad Canyon facility up there treats approximately 1 million MGD.
And also to follow up on that, we have 3 water treatment facilities for drinking water. So we have the Flagler Water Treatment Facility that's fed by 2 wells. We have the Back Basin Groundwater Treatment Plant that's fed by 2 wells. And we have the Canyon Lake Water Treatment Plant that treats surface water coming out of Canyon Lake. So in total, we have 6 water treatment facilities, 3 for water reclamation that treat wastewater into recycled water, and 3 that treat potable water.
Awesome. Thank you. We have I just got one more question in the chat. Where do you get the microbes to treat the poo water?
Oh, that's a good one for George and Flavio.
No, believe it or not, it comes in naturally. So it comes in with the wastewater as the microbes are already in the water. And basically it's a natural process, and we just enhance it mainly by adding oxygen to it. And by adding oxygen, it gives the microbes all the energy that they need to break it down. It speeds up the process.
Excellent. So we don't go out and buy microbes. We harvest the microbes that come in, and we use them as long as they're useful, and then we waste them and convert them to sludge when they've run their course.
Do the microbes have a name?
Well, there's many different types that come in. There's rotifers, and there's amoebas, and there's, the list goes on. There's stalk ciliates, and there's a whole different one. And each of the different ones are indicators of the age of the process and how mature the microbes are that are coming to do the treatment.
All right, good question. I have a question for Flavio and George. There's a lot of discussion about what should and should not be flushed down the toilet because of how it affects the collection and treatment system. Can you elaborate on some best practices for that?
Well, just because it says flushable on the package doesn't mean it's a good idea. A lot of those type products that they sell, and it says flushable on it, and what they do is they come down the line and then they plug up pumps and they get stuck in channels, and they add a lot of extra challenges to our job in order to maintain the system.
So flushable wipes is a big one. I know that a lot of people buy flushable wipes. They're marketed as flushable, but they really cause a lot of maintenance problems and failures in the collection and treatment system. So that's definitely something to watch out for in the future.
So in a nutshell, Jace, and to the audience out there, we usually like to only receive what we call the 3 Ps. Just please just flush your pee, your poop, and the paper, and that will work for us.
So here's someone who knows a little bit about the wastewater treatment process. The question is, how safe is the cake for use as fertilizer? So if you could define what the cake is, and then its safety for fertilizer.
Well, the biosolids that are produced from the process, we run through a machine that presses them out. We have 2 belts that run together, and it runs through a series of rollers, and it squeezes it out. The end product is the cake that we're talking about. We don't directly use it. We actually have it hauled off to a composting facility where they'll further break it down and then screen it, and then it can be used as a fertilizer at that point.
Great, thank you.
Also, Camille, before we go on to the next question, I understand that one guest in this session, Anvita Bardakar, sorry if I mispronounced the last name, I understand Anvita won a raffle in a prior session. So Anvita, if you wouldn't mind, please submit to us via the chat function your phone number and email address, and we'll make sure that we get that gift card to you for one of the local restaurants.
Thank you.
Okay.
Another question we had is, between all the imported water, is there one source that is better for drinking? Or perhaps maybe you could describe, Jace, the additional treatment that you have to do for your different sources.
All the imported water comes to us treated. We very seldom ever take untreated water into our system. And if we do, it comes into Canyon Lake, and then we treat it through Canyon Lake Water Treatment Plant. Most of the water we get goes through the same treatment processes as it relates to imported surface water, typically conventional treatment types. And so the quality is very similar from our imported sources, both the State Water Project source, the Colorado River Aqueduct source, as well as the effluent at Canyon Lake Water Treatment Plant. We have some different challenges with all those sources and the points where they enter the drinking water system, but by and large, quality is very similar, and we actually strive to match the quality of the water so that when they meet in the system, because typically most customers get a blend of groundwater, surface water, imported water, we want to make sure that all those water sources are agreeable with one another, so the chemistry from treatment is not fighting itself.
Great. And one more question, do you use any chemicals as indicator when cleaning chlorine or other chemicals out of the water? I assume wastewater.
So that's a
or
wastewater.
Perhaps drinking water, yes. So I'll ask the question again, do you use any other chemicals as indicator when cleaning chlorine and other chemicals out of the water?
Is that a wastewater question or a drinking water question?
I think it may be a drinking water question.
Okay, so we're actually adding chlorine to all drinking water to treat it during the plant process as well as to preserve it when it's in the system. So I don't know if I fully understand the question regarding indicators. We do chlorine residual itself is an indicator of water quality in the distribution system when it goes through the conveyance pipes towards your communities, when it sits in tanks. Having a residual level of chlorine is an indicator of water health and the ability to manage minor contaminants in the future as it travels to your home.
Great.
I hope that answered the question.
Another question, does the district have any say in the proposed hydroelectric plant if it ever happens?
So the district is not part of any decision-making regarding the hydroelectric plant. And we understand that there is discussion about it, and we understand how it would work and how it may affect Lake Elsinore, but we are not currently participating in that project. So we are watching just as the rest of the community is.
Awesome. And this is a career question for you three. The question is, I've been trying to get into a water district for a career, but with the state shutdown, I haven't been able to take the state wastewater and distribution test. Any suggestions for me to get my foot in the door?
Sure, I could elaborate on that. So as far as I know, collections tests through California Water Environment Association, those are still underway, and you could take those every quarter. So you could sign up right now for the January to March quarter. For the water distribution, water treatment, and wastewater treatment, it is a little more difficult since the state hasn't really figured out how to maintain safety during those events, which are in-person tests. So I recommend to continue to call the State Water Resources Control Board to get updates on that.
Thank you. And I don't see any additional questions. So if there's a few remaining questions from your list, Jace, we can ask those.
Yeah, looking at this, I do see one good question. Do you offer an OIT program? That is an operator and training program, which is how all wastewater treatment operators typically start their career in the treatment field. We do have an OIT program. We partner with Mount San Jacinto Community College for that program. And we currently have, I believe, 2 OITs from the college that are currently with the district. So I do encourage you to give us a call as well as contact Mount San Jacinto Community College. And there's definitely opportunities there. We look forward to seeing more OITs in the future.
Awesome. And I've got one more question perhaps for you, Jace. How does lead get into drinking water?
Lead. So lead typically gets into drinking water through lead plumbing. So sometimes you could have lead naturally occurring in water and we have to treat to remove it. But that's typically groundwater, where maybe the groundwater geologic formation, the rocks underground do have some presence of lead, or maybe some mining operations where water comes from hundreds of miles away and follows a creek or river, and mine tailings pollute that water supply with lead. But typically lead comes out of in-home plumbing or lead service lines, and sometimes in very old water systems, lead caulked joints and so forth. So to prevent lead contamination, typically you treat the water to ensure it's not corrosive, so it does not pull the lead out of indoor plumbing and service lines. I can say with confidence that Elsinore Valley Municipal Water District does not have any lead service lines or lead components in the drinking water system on the public side. But if you're in an older house, especially early to mid 1900s house, please be very aware that there could be lead plumbing or at least some small lead components in the home. And that's where the danger lies. But we do treat the water to a point that it should not remove lead from pipes. It should not corrode the lead and put that in your water. So we have very good lead compliance here at Elsinore Valley.
Awesome. And one more question about that OIT program. This person says they got their training through Cal State SAC. Does that count for your OIT program?
Yeah, so Cal State Sacramento has correspondence water and wastewater courses, and we've all enjoyed the benefits of taking those courses. It's very convenient, very informative. But for OITs, you actually need to put in, I believe, 1,000 or 1,200 hours. George and Flavio can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that that is enough to at least get you in the door to join a program if you have some of those qualifications already. But you definitely need to get the hours under your belt on the job experience. So please, if you have any more questions, don't hesitate to call us. Okay, are there any more questions that the group has? Those have been all great questions.
Yes, really great questions. I don't see anything else in the chat, so I think we may be ready to choose a raffle winner.
Okay, well, first regarding the winners, and Vita, we did get your information, so thank you very much. We will be following up with you. And I think that the winner for this session, we had a lot of great questions, but Maya had some great questions. You won the raffle for this session, and we will be asking for your information. Please, through this chat function, give us your phone number as well as your email address, and we will correspond to send you a local $25 restaurant gift card. So thank you everyone for attending, and really enjoyed the questions. And we hope to hear from Anthony regarding the OIT program. We're always looking forward to having new OITs in. So hopefully we see you in the future.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Maya, please send us that information.
All right. Do we have any more questions, Camille? Do we have any more time, or is that?
We do have a little bit more time. I see one question that says, are there any other corrosive materials from plumbing too, or is it just lead? So lead coming from those from that plumbing, are there any other corrosive materials?
Definitely. Any metallic pipe can corrode, and it could affect water quality. Sometimes it's just aesthetic, such as iron pipe could make water turn that orange rusty color. And although it's not ideal, iron's just a mineral. You don't need that much of a mineral so much your water is orange. So that's why sometimes in old homes, when you're gone on vacation for a week or two and you come back and you turn on your shower faucets, you might get a burst of orange water. That's typically from one small component of your house plumbing corroding with the contact with the water, and that slug of water comes out the color of that pipe corrosion. So iron is another big one. Aluminum could also corrode with water contact. Copper can, with brand new copper, you often get that blue crystalline corrosion inside the copper, and actually new homes suffer from that the most until they get that patina protective coating developed inside of the copper pipe. So all metallic pipes do have the propensity for corrosion, but it's normal and it's managed through proper water quality.
Great question. And here's another really good one. Is there any maintenance I can do on my end to keep my side of the pipes clean?
Sure. I anticipate this is a water question. If it's water, then what you could do is regularly run all of your faucets. If you have a restroom that's maybe a guest restroom that you don't typically use, every few months, go ahead and run the hot and cold faucets, run the shower, flush the toilet. You don't want water to sit in pipes for too long. But if it's wastewater, then there's definitely some actions you could take. You might want to, especially if you have a lot of trees in your yard, you have a customer owned, typically 3 or 4 inch sewer lateral that goes from your property out to the main in the street, and you do own that lateral. And if you have a lot of vegetation or trees near that lateral, then you probably want to get a plumber to come out and video inspect that lateral and make sure that the roots are not entering the pipe and causing obstructions or damage.
Great. Any other questions before we wrap up? We have just a couple minutes.
All right, we're still waiting for information from Maya.
I got it. She private messaged it to me. Yep, we're good. Thanks,
Excellent,
Maya.
we're set. Okay, I have one question for George and Flavio, and this is a question that comes up often. The purple pipes around town in different housing tracts and medians and parks and so forth, what do the purple pipes mean, and what precautions should the public take around those purple pipes?
Well, purple pipes, they indicate that reclaimed water is in use. So the water that leaves our facilities are utilizing it for irrigation or wash down or anything of that sort. So but you don't want to drink any of that. So like if there's a hose on it, you don't want to get a drink out of it. It's really not for washing your hands or anything. It's safe, but it's not for human consumption.
And again, that's a universal color code that's across most of the states in the U.S.
Yeah, so it's a universal color indicating recycled water. So don't drink the water, depending on how the water's treated. Don't run through the sprinklers because it may or may not be treated to a level that is safe for body contact. All of our water on that note is treated to a safe body contact level. And that's why we put 5 million gallons a day of effluent from the regional water reclamation facility into Lake Elsinore to help maintain that lake level. So very good. All right, any more questions, Camille, or does that sum it up?
I think that about sums it up. I'm not seeing anything. Oh, one more. Who can I contact for information about the OIT?
You can contact Jesse Ariano. He is, I think he may be on this call. He was earlier. He is our wastewater treatment superintendent, and he's managing the OIT program, and he's one that will help mentor and develop those staff and be the liaison between our agency and the school. So I'll give a phone number. That phone number is a general number for the district. It is 951-674-3146. Again, 951-674-3146. And the superintendent's name is Jesse Ariano. And please ask for him, and he'll be put in touch, and he'll definitely help you out and answer any questions related to the OIT program.
Great.
All right. Well, thanks, everyone. We do appreciate you all attending. For everyone that did attend, a copy of the presentation will be posted on our website this afternoon. So if there was anything you missed or want to view again, please check out the website. There are also many other sessions that we're running concurrently. So if you were here, then there are other sessions with great information that I'm sure you'll be interested in hearing. Since we're done with all of the sessions, we want to let you know that we have a repository of information available in the booths and lobby of this event. And please be sure to fill out our survey in the booth room to receive a free water conservation device. So again, thanks for attending. Everyone have a great day, great weekend, and we look forward to questions in the future. Please reach out if there are any more questions above and beyond this event. Thank you.
Thanks very much.